Good episode, y'all. Good episode. Even though I was already spoiled, somebody spoiled it in my Dance with the Stars live chat. If y'all don't know, I do that before I do this on Tuesdays, which is why these come out late. But somebody spoiled it while I was recapping the show with the crew. So I already knew who went home, but watching it back. Best episode of the season so far. I was happy with one of the results, not happy with one of the other results, but I was gonna be upset with regardless that result for that gender. But yeah. Well, was I? No, because the other. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. But it is 12:44, y'all, in the morning, not p.m. You see it Wednesday, September 24th. Please thumbs up the video for me real quick. That's all y'all can do, free of charge. But y'all killed it last time. Y'all killed it last night. Do it again. Also, go follow the TikTok. Y'all killing it over there as well. I'm going to drop a little clip over there. Go follow it. It's in my bio, the TikTok link. Yeah, get in the comments. I don't have to tell y'all that. Y'all already do it. Subscribe, share the video. We are really, really close to 13K. We're on the road to 15K, but we're really close to 13K. I think we like 40 away. So, yeah, do that. But, yeah, I'm not going to waste too much time because I'm ready to get this done so I can get in that bed. All right, y'all. So, we get back where we left off, which is Isaiah and Sydney. They're pretty much hugging and stuff, and she's apologizing for having to come in like that. I'm like, what you apologizing for? But he says, like, long time no see. They start talking about how they pretty much had some growing up to do since the last time they saw each other. And she was like, I mean, I feel like I'm a different person now. I feel like we have a lot to talk about, but I feel like I'm a different person. And he was like, yeah, it's been a year and a half since they've seen each other and since they've last spoken. But Johnny then talks to Isaiah, and he's like, are y'all cool? Like, what's going on? And he's like, are y'all friendly? And Isaiah's like, yeah, we'll be fine. But Johnny's like, this is awkward. It is awkward. But Lucinda and Andrea, they're asking Sydney, like, what's up with you and Isaiah? Like, is it a no? Is it a maybe? Are you still trying to get to know him? And she's like, no, I don't think so. Like, she tells him their breakup was messy because he cheated. And she was like, I mean, it is what it is. And they're like, well, I didn't really see him like that because he just doesn't give off that vibe. Because he's been literally background noise. He ain't really done anything. He ain't really had. That's the thing, though. He hasn't really had the opportunity to actually show that side because he ain't really had no pull in this season, which is different than season 4. If you watch season 4, he had girls coming in that villa for him. But Sydney says that she thinks that he's a good guy, but she just feels like he was stupid back then. But she then tells us that she feels good and everybody is fair game at this point. Like, whoever helps her get to the end of the game, that's where she's going. We see Sydney is here for the game. She's here for the game, and she later tells us that she's ready to mix it up. She ain't got no friends in here. She's going to do what she needs to do to get to that money. And if it means fucking up somebody else's shit, that seems like that's what she's going to do, and I'm here for it. It's good TV. But Johnny and Andreina, he's like, we got a chance to fight our way out of this. Andreina's sitting there looking deflated. This could not be my partner. Like, there's always going to be a chance where you possibly are going to be vulnerable and you're going to have to fight your way out. It's a game show. If you don't want to compete and be ready to compete, you couldn't be my partner. And he asked her, like, are you giving up? And she's like, I mean, I'm not, but I've been vulnerable every single day. There's a chance that you're going to be vulnerable every single day. Johnny, if I'm remembering correctly from season 1, I feel like Johnny was not always safe. Like, Johnny always, I feel like Johnny, if I'm remembering correctly, he had to fight a lot too. But Johnny says, like, we're still here. Like, we're not gone. So, like, you still can fight to get to the money. And he's like, we can make it out of this one. And it could happen. Like, it's 250K not worth that? I'm like, exactly. But she starts crying, saying that she's tired and can't catch a break. I said, Andreina, it's a game. It is a literal game. Come on. But he's sitting there comforting her as he should. But Andrea and Toby, they're at the dock. She says she feels like she can't catch a break either, but she at least is holding it together, at least in this moment. But he was like, I mean, I thought we would be the power couple. Like, she's like, yeah, we the underdogs at this point because we literally have been vulnerable back to back. And he's like, yeah, like, we've been vulnerable twice. And Andrea's like, I mean, I'm not going down without a fight, though. But KK, she ends up introducing herself to Marivn in front of Tyler Perry. And KK and Tyler Perry, they end up going up to Soul Ties, and they're talking about, like, being vulnerable and how it can't happen anymore because they went from being a power couple to now being vulnerable. And he says something that I couldn't make out. I was trying to figure it out. But he eventually says that Marivn pretty much telling you that you look beautiful in front of me had me looking silly. And he's joking about it, but I'm like, this is some insecure nigga shit. Like, how does him stating that to you make you feel that way? Like, how do you feel and look silly because a man told you that the girl that you claim that you want is beautiful? Like, if she's in fact beautiful, you be like, yeah, she is, and she mine. Like, what? But she eating him up, like being jealous at this point. Being jealous, it's an act. But she then tells him like she likes that. I said, KK, please. But she then asked him about his kiss with Justine, and he's like, I mean, it was just a kiss, like we didn't make out or whatever. But Marivn comes up to pull KK for a chat. But they go into the speakeasy. Not really much chemistry, obviously, because we all know how KK is. When KK locks in on somebody, she ain't really gonna give it. But he ends up asking like, how's it going with her and Tyler Perry? And she's like, great, because we've been coupled up since day one. Everything's good. And he was like, maybe him getting kicked out would be good for me. I said, exactly. Exactly. But she starts laughing, stating, yeah, it would be good for you. But Marivn then says that, of course, not Marivn. KK says that Marivn, of course, he wants Chris out, get 6'8" out, because it would make way for him, obviously. But they start talking about their signs and whatnot. I kept it moving. So Nicola and Isaiah. Nicola, we're gonna get to it in a minute. I'm not gonna jump the gun. Y'all know how we're gonna get to it. I need to get the merch, y'all. But they're talking about how they went from the bottom to the power couple. Like everybody said in my comments, like everybody said online, I do believe that was manipulated. Just like them rigging the votes to send Mert and Solène home to make sure that these two didn't go home for the sympathy, but we'll get to it. But Nicola, she ends up getting a text talking about how they go into the hideaway as the new power couple. And I'm like, for what? Like, y'all going to the hideaway, y'all being the couple to go to the hideaway is crazy to me. But we know there's a reason. But the girls, they start helping her pick out lingerie like normal. And I'm like, for what? Because she's not. But Tyler Perry, he's sitting there talking about how he wanted to go to the hideaway. And I'm like, for what? You're not going to do that. Well, I mean, I guess he might, because him and KK were kissing the night before. But for what? For what? If anybody should have went to the hideaway, should have been Johnny and Andreina. Yeah, that's it. Johnny and Andreina, that's it. They're the only couple that probably would use it. But Isaiah, he goes up to get Nicola, and they walk down. Everybody sends them off to the hideaway. So they're in the hideaway, and Sydney and Toby are having a conversation. And we find out that this is not their first time seeing each other. She was excited to see him, and he's like, yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. I haven't seen you since this premiere, which I think she said Love Island Game Season 1 back in LA, which would have been about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. So they had kissed too back then. And she's like, it's full circle being back in here, especially with Isaiah and being in here too. And she starts talking about the breakup, how it was traumatic for her, but she's matured at this point. Like, it's dead in the water at this point. But she then states that she wants to see how he's doing, talking about Isaiah, but that's not why she's here. She's here to win. And he ends up asking her, like, why are you here? And she says that, like, I'm here to win. If I find a connection, fuck it. Like, it's cool. But she's really here to win. That's clear. But she states to us that she's open. No, she tells him this. She's open because she ain't got no baggage in here, even though the baggage that she does have that's in here is in the hideaway. I said, oh, you funny. But she then tells us that Toby is hot and athletic, but whoever gives her the treat, a.k.a. gives me what I need to get to that money, I'm going to go that way because I want a pink Bentley. I said, okay. But she then says that she doesn't know the girls personally, so basically all's fair in love and war. She's like, it's better for me to not be friends with these girls because I'm going to slither my way around, and Toby's sitting there laughing. That's the way it should be. Like, that was the part about this episode that irritated me, is this whole friend shit. Like, y'all are here for a game. Granted, y'all are going to eventually become friends, maybe. But y'all have literally been in this house. Today makes a full week, which maybe that's when it aired. But they probably have been in here a week and 2 or 3 days. Granted, y'all probably are friends now. Y'all been around each other all day, every day. But y'all are still here for a game. Like, come on. But it's bedtime. Everybody's asleep except for Isaiah and Nicola. They in their cheersing, and they get a text telling them that you have to choose 2 boys and 2 girls from any couple, not any couple, any of the vulnerable couples, to duel, and the losing boy and girl will be dumped from the island immediately. I said, ooh, juicy. So they start deliberating, and Nicola pretty much states that she knows that Andrea and KK are better competitors than Andreina. And she says KK and Andreina are like 2 of her best friends in the house. So Isaiah is pretty much stating Chris versus Johnny is the better option for his game. But he could, basically because he could beat Toby at the end if he does get to the end, which is 100% correct. Like, there should be no question that Isaiah should throw in Johnny versus Chris, because you would eliminate somebody that would be a threat to you in the game. I see nothing wrong with this, and I wanted it for what happened later on because I called it. But Nicola then says that she had a good connection with Chris, and I'm like, you don't, not genuinely. Like, you might have one because he's performing, but you really don't. And Isaiah's like telling her to lock in. Like, we need to make a decision that's gonna be best for us in the game. So he makes a decision for them, and she seemingly doesn't want it, but they get into bed, and he's stating like he's already regretting it. And I'm like, regretting what? Like, you're making a decision that's going to make it easier for you to get to that money. Like, what do you mean you're regretting? But we get to the next day, and everybody's waking up, and Tyler Perry goes outside, and he sees the ring, the boxing ring that's out there outside, a.k.a. the duel. So he brings the guys out to go see it. The girls are looking from the balcony, but everybody eventually comes down, and they're circling around the ring, taking it all in, like the duel's coming, it's coming. They like, where the breakfast at? And they like, the duel is breakfast. Which it was, though, because I don't think anybody ate, at least on camera. But Lucinda ends up getting a text, and it says that today there will be 2 duels. Keep in mind, Nicola and Isaiah are not out here with them. It's just everybody that's in the house, in the villa. So Kendall gets a text telling them that Nicola and Isaiah made the decision to choose 2 boys and 2 girls to go head-to-head in the duel. Now, Justine gets the next text, and she's telling them, it's pretty much telling them that the winners will be safe and the losers will be dumped immediately. Lucinda gets the next text that tells her the first boy competing in the duel is Johnny. He said that he knew it. Obviously, Johnny, you've already played the games before. You got to the finals. You were the runner-up. You've done competed on the challenge. They already know that. So, obviously, you being up, you are definitely going to go in. But Garbi tells them that he's going to be going up against Tyler Perry, a.k.a. Chris, if you don't know who I'm talking about. But Kendall then says that those are the two biggest competitors in here on the men's side, which he's not lying. Josh too. But yeah, essentially they're the 2 biggest. Chris is the biggest one. Johnny is the biggest one, actually, for real. But Tyler Perry's questioning if Isaiah and Nicola are snakes for doing it. I said, you're playing a game. They're not playing to give you $250,000. Like, of course they're going to put you. The way Chris was acting was blowing my mind. Why? It's like, granted, I would be pissed off too. I wouldn't say I would be pissed off because I would expect it. Like, we're playing a game at the end of the day. Because I would have done the same thing. Shit, I would have done the same thing. Would I be upset to have to go in a duel? No, but then again, you already in the duel. What you mad about? But he then starts talking about how they better hope he don't come back. I started laughing, knowing while watching this what was going on. But Ty, he ends up getting a text stating that the first girl going in is Andrea. Josh gets the next text telling her that she'll be going against KK. The girls are shocked. When KK's name got called, mouths were dropped. But Andreina, she's obviously relieved because she would have gone home regardless. If she was up against KK, she would have gone home. If she was up against Andrea, she would have went home. You can't tell me otherwise. But KK says she's going against her best friend in the house, and she would hate to see her go, but KK don't want to go home. KK made me proud. I'm going to get to it, but she made me proud. But Andrea and Toby, they're upstairs. He's telling her that he feels like she's a competitor because she is. She performed well as well, but she states like, yeah, I am. But that's my best friend. Like, her and KK are in the same boat. Like, they got really close in the villa. Obviously, the 2 people the person that you're closest with, you don't want to go up against. Like, Toby and Tyrique, they don't want to go against each other. Johnny and Josh don't want to go against each other. Like, that would make, like, obviously. But she says she wants something physical, which obviously on paper, that would make sense. But KK's strong. We're going to get to her. But KK and Tyler Perry, they talking about the same old. And KK was like, I want to outsmart her. I'm going to have to outsmart her. And he says, yeah, like, we just got to make sure that we on our shit. I got to make sure I'm on my shit because Johnny is a strong competitor. And she's like, yeah, like, he's done this shit before. He's probably going to see something and immediately think about certain things because he's already had experience doing it. But Johnny and Andreina, they're on the dock. And she thought it would be Johnny versus Toby. I don't know why, because, I mean, the answer was given. But Johnny says, like, eventually it was going to come down to him and Chris at this point. Like, at this point, we can see now who's really the best of the best. Now, Andreina, she starts crying in her confessionals about the thought of Johnny going home. I said, Andreina, you getting on my nerves. All this fucking crying, like, she is annoying this season. She is so annoying this season. The pick me shit. It's not the same Andreina that we saw literally 2 months ago. But Johnny says, like, I mean, I would look like a monster if I came back in here from beating Tyler Perry. But KK then tells Tyler Perry that it worries her because She likes him, and everybody else in this house are essentially second options for her. I said, do you think he said the same thing back to her? Nope. He said he gonna handle his. She just ain't got to worry about it. Like, I'm gonna handle mine. But Nicola and Isaiah, they're back in the hideaway. They clearly ain't really fucking with each other for real right now. They both look scared because they know they done made a decision. They got to go out there and face it. So he asked for a hug. And I don't know if she was reluctant to doing it or if she was just spaced out. But she eventually gives him one, and he looks irritated and mad with her. I'm like, y'all are weird. But they come back from the hideaway, and Johnny's... And it's awkward because it's silent. Everybody over there is shooting daggers. And Johnny daps up Isaiah and was like, I would have done the same thing. Game respects game. Like, Johnny ain't stupid. Johnny, the way Johnny handled it is the way I would have handled it. Johnny obviously don't want to go in, but he already knew he was going to go in, and you already know Johnny took that as just like ego. Yeah. They know I'm really that dude, so they're going to throw me in. Like, obviously, Johnny took the shit on the chin because Johnny is a competitor. I would have been moving just like Johnny did. Chris is over there sulking like a bitch, but we'll get to him. But Justine ends up asking Tyler, like, and I'm talking about Tyler Perry, Chris, if we should go over there. And he says, I'm not doing it. So they start talking about how sad Nicola looks. And I'm like, for what? But Kendall calls Nicola over there asking how she's feeling. And KK, Justine, Tyler Perry, they over there with him. So she was like, I mean, we argued a lot. We kind of argued a lot trying to make this decision. And KK sitting there looking stone-faced. She looked pissed, but also looked like she was getting in the zone. And she gets up and walks away. Nicola is telling them about how she didn't agree with the guy's decision. And Kendall was like, what about the girls, though? And she was like, I mean, my reasoning for doing it was because they both were good competitors to make it fair, which, I mean, I get that. So stand in it. Stand in it. Don't be sitting here crying and acting like, oh, I'm so sad. No, stand up to the decision. You made the decision to do that because they are strong competitors. You're not wrong for making the decision, but the fact that you sitting here acting like this, it's annoying to me. It's annoying. But Isaiah then starts talking to Tyrique, Marivn, Toby, and Josh, and he's like, it was a fight and battle between the two of us because I looked at it from a competitive standpoint because Johnny and Chris would have likely been the person to end me in the game. Like, these two probably would have beat me at the end, so it makes sense to at least eliminate one of them and have them eliminate each other. Duh. Like, what's the issue? But Toby says also the three of us were vulnerable and you could save somebody, essentially. But he then says, yeah, but obviously Chris had a connection with KK and maybe Nicola too, which I'm like, you're not wrong for that because you're cutting off some other options that he would have had, which would have kept him here longer in the game. But Tyrique then tells him, like, not to be hard on himself. Like, what are you down for? Because you made a decision for the game that you're playing on a game show. Like, it's getting lost in translation that they're on a game. The only people that understand that is Tyrique, Johnny, Andrea, KK, even though KK is mad, KK, Justine, Toby, Sydney, they understand that they're on a game. Garbi, they understand they're on a game. Even Kendall, damn it. But he says that. And Isaiah says that he hopes that Tyler Perry understands. I said, fuck him. What does it matter? What does it matter? But he's sitting there screw-facing. Tyler Perry's sitting there screw-facing. And Nicola's apologizing to him. And Andrea comes up and gives her a hug and is like, it is what it is. So Nicola gets up and walks away. And Tyler Perry then says that he don't want to speak to Isaiah because he feels betrayed. And if it was him in that position, he wouldn't have done it. I said, obviously, you wouldn't have done it because you don't see Isaiah as a threat to you. You would have put up Johnny and Tyrique against each other because you see them as a threat. So, you wouldn't have done it to Isaiah. Isaiah did what was a threat to him in the game. How are you upset with him for doing it? But Isaiah walks over asking to talk, and Tyler Perry says, nah. And Isaiah walks away, and he tells us he don't understand, like, why Chris is feeling that way. And he's like, I mean, I respect him, but as a man, I feel like he's taking it personal, and he's making it more than what it needs to be because it's a game. I said, exactly. So why are you tripping out about it? Like, if Chris had an issue with me putting him up for elimination on a game show, you have that issue. I don't care. I don't care. But KK, she's by the water getting herself focused on the game. And she's like, I'm just trying to get my mind ready. Nicola comes up asking to talk, and KK says, no, thank you. Then Nicola then asks, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm just trying to get my mind together for the duel. I just don't want to talk. Nicola goes to the bathroom and starts crying. I said, please, here we go. this shit again. So she gets in her confessionals and starts crying, stating that it took her a while to feel included, and now KK doesn't want to speak to her. I said, it's a fucking game. This is not Friends Island. Like, y'all need to wake up. But she then says that she would never. This right here pissed me off. And this is why Nicola, the minute they open them polls for us to send somebody home, she's the first person I'm sending home. She says, I would never treat somebody like that or speak to them like that. I said, KK didn't even speak to you in any kind of way. She just frankly told you that she doesn't want to talk. She wants to get herself in the zone to compete in the duel. You sitting here trying to act like a victim when you're the one that just sent her into the elimination. She's the one that has to fight. You're the one that's safe. So why are you crying? Why are you acting like she's supposed to be coddling you for making a decision that put her game at risk? Like, it's that victim shit. Them white women tears, I'm telling you, is getting annoying. It's literally the same shit that we just finished. I don't want to deal with this shit no more. Like, play the fucking game and stop trying to sit here and play victim. Like, it blows my mind. You're playing a game. One person could, is going to win that $250,000. One couple is going to be able to get the opportunity to choose if one or two people wins. The rest of y'all is not going to get that money. So why are y'all mad? But everybody's crying, Andrea and KK, and they're crying about one of the two of them leaving and whatnot. KK says, like, all I'm thinking about is going head to head up against my best friend, and one of us is going, but it can't be me. But Justine ends up asking Nicola, like, why is she standing in the hall? Because she's standing in the hall. All the other girls are in the makeup room. And she's standing in the hall trying to get some sympathy. And Nicola's like, because Andrea and KK are upset. Justine says, like, it's going to be like this way the whole competition. Like, why are you, don't let this get to you. I'm like, exactly, Justine. But Nicola says she didn't want to pick Andreina because she had a hard time in here. I said, okay, Friendship Island, like, get over it. But Tyler Perry says that he wants to make Isaiah regret putting him in that duel. I said, okay. But Tyreek had me laughing. Tyreek is telling all the boys in there, everybody that I like that's still there, that Chris is tall. He was just a power couple, and he ain't been tested, bro. He in there sitting there smiling and stuff. You can tell he eating this shit up. Just menace mode. And Garbi's pepping up KK, Lucinda's pepping up Andrea, and Tyreek and the boys are in there pumping up Johnny. I said, yeah, real niggas stand up. If you watch my community page, you would have saw that post that I made. This is when I was watching it. But yeah, I'm like, yeah, get Johnny pumped up because I want Johnny to win. I told y'all I wanted him to win if it was him against Chris. But it's time to duel. Ariana arrives. She welcomes Sydney and Marivn into the villa. She now starts talking about the duel, what they're going to be doing. And she asks Nicola and Isaiah, like, how was y'all's night in the hideaway? And he was like, I mean, we had disagreements or whatever. And she was like, about what? And she was like, Nicola. Y'all, I'm tired. Nicola, she says that she didn't want Johnny and Chris against each other. She says she would have wanted it to be Johnny versus Toby or Chris versus Toby, a.k.a. Toby, I want you to go home. That's basically what I got from it. But Ariana then asked her why she put KK and Andrea against each other. And she was like, it was hard. She was like, I didn't choose them to advance myself. I said, go home. That's the only reason why you should be choosing anybody is to advance yourself. She was like, I mean, I'm very sorry. Andrea says, we're not mad at you. It's just the worst case scenario for us. Like, we're best friends in this game. We don't want to obviously go up against each other right now. And KK was like, I mean, I know it's a hard position. I was literally a power couple, but you're not a victim. Like, you're in a position of power. I'm sorry that I don't feel sorry for you. I said, exactly, KK. I'm glad she said that shit. I'm glad she didn't fold. I'm glad she didn't sit there and give that girl sympathy because for what? For what? You're playing a fucking game. But we get to the duel. And it's a ring, or in the ring, it's split into 4 zones. You got one player that has the yellow zone, and then the other has the blue. They're going to drop a weighted training bag in the middle, and they'll have 45 seconds to wrestle that bag to their side in their zone. By the end of those 45 minutes, whichever zone has most of the bag in it will win that round for that person. So the best of 3 wins, the loser goes home. Andrea and KK are up first. KK was making me proud. I was like, KK, on paper, looking at them from a height advantage, you would think Andrea would have the advantage. But me being a personal trainer, being a fitness enthusiast, me actually being an athlete as well, I know looking at KK's body, her build, her legs. And when it comes to like pulling stuff, most people think it's really upper body, but it's really your legs. Like look at Josh in that previous challenge. That's going to help you. You get your stance and you get your feet planted. You can pull more knowing that your most of your strength is coming from your legs. Like you're pulling with you being planted, you can turn and twist and pull. And that's what KK was doing. KK was getting the shit on her side. Andrea was giving it back though. This was a good battle. Like they both was in there getting it done. It was just back and forth into each other's zones. And by the end of the first zone, Andrea had won the first round. And she like, KK's strong. And KK said, yeah, like, because Ariana ends up asking her, like, how do you feel going up against your friend? And she's like, I mean, I ain't got no friends right now. Exactly. When we're competing, we're not friends. Like, and Andrea says, like, yeah, we're here to win. So round 2, KK uses strategy this time. Because that's what I was thinking. Watching it, I was like, I probably would not use any of my energy trying to get that bag until I was like counting in my head 30, 31, 32, 33 seconds. Then I'm going to start pulling that shit to my side because you wasting energy just doing that back and forth, knowing that you have a 45-second cap. But that's what KK was doing. And she let that time run for a little bit. And then she started getting that bag. And then she started taking her shoes off, but she had socks on. She had one sock on and one sock off. I'm like, if you would have took that second sock off, you would have had a lot more traction. But Andrea won again. She won that round, which means Andrea wins. KK has been eliminated. KK is laying on her back screaming, fuck. Dead silent. Everybody feels bad. You can tell they feel bad. But she goes over to the side. She starts crying. She's competitive. Like me, I'd have been mad too. But Andrea's crying, obviously, because KK's gone as well. But KK says like she didn't feel like her time was up, but she didn't feel like she was more deserving to be there than Andrea. But she states that she's grateful to have met her. They both hug. They're crying. And Andrea says she's happy to be there, but this sucks. But Tyler Perry says essentially it's sad to see basically KK lose, but he's proud of her fight. But this is not the end of him and KK. I said, yeah, we'll see. But Nicola, she starts talking about how she feels and whatever. And she feels sad. And I'm like, it's a game. But KK, she's eliminated, but she pretty much has to wait for the guy that's joining her. So they go and sit down. And Ty pretty much tells KK, like, be proud of yourself. You did good. Justine's hugging her, doing the same. Johnny versus Tyler Perry, Chris. Round 1. It was good. It was good. I knew it was going to be a fight. I knew Johnny could take Chris out, but I knew it was going to be a battle. Chris is tall, and he did play sports. Like, being an athlete, you just know how to lock in when it's time to lock in. So I knew it wasn't going to be an easy bout, but I knew Johnny could get the shit done. But they start going at getting that bag. They back and forth. Back and forth. Chris drops on his bag. Johnny standing up, pulling that shit. They snatching it back and forth. Andreina was cracking me up, though. Her dramatics, she looked like she needed to be in a damn soap opera. But it was back and forth. But Johnny won round 1. Loved it. But Chris then starts talking about how he felt like he broke his finger. I said, you mean that ego's broke? That's what I thought in the moment. But they get him some medical attention. Apparently, he had twisted his middle finger. And now he can't bend it all the way. And he's like, it's not worth losing a finger. But Ariana pretty much tells him, you're not medically cleared to do it anyway. So Johnny won. Got what I wanted. But Johnny was like, I mean, I hate seeing Chris go out like this, but it's a win. Like a win's a win. He gives Chris his props. They dap it up. Ariana brings KK up. She talks about how she feels. And she's proud of the both of them and how they happy they met each other. And she met everybody else. And they get to leave together and see what's going on the outside. For y'all, I hope it works out. I mean, it don't really make a difference to me or not. Me personally, I don't believe it's going to work out because, I mean, it's not genuine. But they say their goodbyes and whatnot. KK ends up pulling Nicola to chat. Nicola sitting there apologizing. And KK tells her, like, you don't have to. It's a game. Like, I'm not upset with you. And she tells her, like, just keep killing it. And she's like, I'll be okay. Like, I'll be okay. It'll be okay. But Chris and KK make their final exit. And, yeah. Sad to see KK go because I wanted her to stay, and it just dawned on me too that we're not gonna see Keenan. Like, I wanted to see that mess on this show, but I'm very happy to see Chris is gone. But Chris, we get to go see if you really can get overseas and hoop it up like you claimed that you could. We'll see if them pockets actually got something in them. But if you got this far, it's 1:14 in the morning, y'all. Thumbs it up. If you haven't already, drop them comments down below. Subscribe if you're new. Share the video. And I will see y'all on Thursday. Yeah, peace.